You are listening to the second episode of 5 Minute Materialism on the Eastern Media YouTube channel.
Товарищи!
Is communism incompatible with religion?
Товарищи!
Many anti-communists, or people who are informed as such, will often claim that communism is ungodly or evil because of its historical relationship with religion, specifically the Bolshevik relationship. Quoting from Marx, quote, "Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people." Or Lenin, quote, "The party of the proletariat demands complete separation of church and state, and complete separation of school and church. Religion must be declared a private matter," end quote. While it may sound ungodly on the surface, these quotes are often taken out of context, and we'll go over them in a moment.
Товарищи!
Point 1. The Soviet example. The Bolshevik Revolutionary example is the one that's always pointed at when asserting that religion is incompatible with communism, or that communism is ungodly. This is because during the early revolutionary period in the USSR, the Orthodox Church's power over society was marginalized, and churches like the Cathedral of Christ the Savior in Moscow were demolished. Why, you might ask? Do communists just hate God? It might surprise you, but the answer is no.
Товарищи!
Point 2. The Tsarist Orthodox Church. The reason that the Bolsheviks suppressed the Orthodox Church was because the Moscow Patriarchate was deeply allied and aligned with the Tsarist regime. It was a founding pillar of the monarchy. You see, the Tsar was said to be the one chosen monarch to rule by God. And so when the revolution came to remove that Tsarist regime from power, the Church didn't exactly like that, and began colluding with foreign Western monarchies and engaging in anti-revolutionary activities to try to restore the Tsarist regime. As such, the Bolsheviks ensured the Church's power over society was marginalized, its land stripped away and instead given to the peasants and collective farms, and the largest churches were demolished. Much, if not all, anti-theological activity in the USSR had ceased by the 1960s, however, as it was deemed that there was no longer a class threat posed by the Church.
Товарищи!
Part 3. What about those Marx and Lenin quotes, you might ask? We'll start with the quote from Marx. Quote, "Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature," end quote. Put simply, Marx said this because he believed that religion was used by people as a coping mechanism when their life sucks, not because he had some irrational hatred of God. He believed that in a society where everyone's well-being and standard of living was prioritized, the perceived need for religion would eventually fade away, as people no longer needed to use it as a coping mechanism because of their improved living standards.
Товарищи!
Now the quote from Lenin. Quote, "The party of the proletariat demands the complete separation of church and state. Religion must be declared as a private matter," end quote. Lenin said this not only because of the reasons he stated in our previous point, but also to discourage people from simply accepting the fact they were dirt poor because it was God's will. He correctly wrote that you cannot bring about massive societal change via prayer, and that material action and struggle is ultimately always required to bring about liberation or change. He also deliberately distinguished one's belief in God as a private matter. Religion isn't to interfere with the state, and the state isn't to interfere with religion. Both Marx and Lenin believed, however, that religion was used as a tool by the ruling class to keep the people complacent and accepting of their poor living standards. Neither, however, hated God himself.
Товарищи!
Point number 4. Modern examples. In the People's Republic of China, religion is promoted as a part of the diverse culture in the country. Western tabloid anti-China propaganda outlets like to claim that China is suppressing Tibetan culture or religion. But reports from people who actually go there to these places and interview people tell an opposite story. The same is true for Vietnam, where the majority of people practice Buddhism. The development of socialism is a unique case to each country that employs it to grow its society and uplift its people. The case of revolutionary Russia, as any, was a unique one, especially with regards to the church.
Товарищи!